I contemplated suicide because I felt like the only way out for me was actually just to end my life.
Dumelang, welcome to another episode of Unscripted. My name is Mathawe Matsapola. Soon you're going to see her on your big screens. And I mean big screens. Her name is Cici. You know her. You know her from her music. You know her. Some of you is because you've been reading newspapers and following her around when she goes in and out of court. Today she's here. Welcome, Cici.
Thank you so much for having me.
How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Let's talk about the Red Room. I mean, soon you will be on our big screens. Talk about your character. What went through your mind as you were shooting the Red Room?
Red Room is actually a thriller, and I played the character of Cici, who is the subconscious of the main character. And basically she realized that the only way to get out of the place that she was in at that particular time was to become to actually commit suicide. And after she had done that, she stays in the movie as the subconscious of the main character, played by Kanyambao.
Yeah. But I understand when you were shooting the movie, you were going through the abusive relationship.
Yeah.
What did that do to you? I mean, what did it do to you? Did it pull you out of it?
Yeah.
Did you stay afterwards? Tell us more about that.
I think for me it was actually God when I got this job, because going through the whole movie, I was the voice of reason to the main character, to say where you are is not healthy for you, whether it is financially, psychologically, and it was almost like an outside-in thing for me to say, you know what, I actually should walk away from where I am right now. And it was so easy to embody the character because I was going through those emotions myself. So Cici was actually a blessing in disguise for me, because she actually gave me the strength to actually walk away.
So Cici pushed you out of an abusive relationship?
Yeah.
For how long were you in the abusive relationship?
It was a while. I don't really like to go into the details of my relationship and what happened there, because everything now is still in court. And so I mean, I'd like to just really stick to my work, and I don't want to acknowledge my abuser and give him that power over again. So I'm just learning to pick up the pieces after everything has happened. And unlike Cici, I overcame the feeling of wanting to commit suicide and feeling like that was the only way.
Did you ever feel like committing suicide when you were in that space?
I did. I contemplated suicide because I felt like the only way out for me was actually just to end my life. But I realized if I do that, then who's going to tell my story? And if I silence myself, I'm not only silencing myself, but I'm silencing the young woman that actually listens to my music and supports me and is actually going through abuse. So I had to thankfully I grew up in a family that's very supportive. So my family was there throughout everything. So yeah. So
did you see a counselor to talk to you about your contemplations?
I did. After I left hospital, I did see someone. So yeah.
There were reports that when you started dating Arthur, you were seeing somebody, you were in a serious relationship, you were engaged with the doctor. Do you ever regret leaving him? Do you think if you had sticked around with the guy, you wouldn't have gone through the other things that you had to go through?
Okay, firstly, I'd like to correct that. I was not in that relationship anymore. I had broken up with my then fiance. For me, it just didn't work, because when my career started picking up, I was never home, and he was a doctor. He was always on like 7 to 2 hour calls. So when he was walking in, I was walking out, vice versa. So we felt like we were not spending enough time, and that caused like a bit of a strain in the relationship. So we amicably decided to end the relationship, and if it was meant to be, it would be.
what would you say to a young girl, even any other woman who is sitting and in an abusive relationship and they're scared of getting or walking out of it, or even talking to the next person for assistance? What would you say to that young girl or to that woman who is stuck in an abusive relationship?
I think our greatest fear as women that are in abusive relationship is starting over, especially because women, well, sociologically, women are the face of poverty. So people are always like, how am I going to start over? And I think for me, the main advice would be never ever be afraid to start over. I remember saying to myself, it means I have to go and audition on Idols to restart my career, then I'll do that. But I was never afraid to start over, and I think that's what most women encounter is, what do I do? How do I start over? So yeah.
But something good came out of that pain, if I have to put it that way. Your first album, you put your energy, you put your journey into that beautiful album. And most of the songs, if not all the songs, are your experiences. You're currently promoting another more single. Can you talk about that song as well?
I think, let me just touch on the fact that it was actually a blessing for me to go through what I went through, because then I realized how many women are actually going through this in South Africa, in the world, and it was actually me taking along other people in the process of healing and finding peace and learning to forgive yourself and learning to love yourself again. And for me, it was just trying to find a tasteful way of expressing how I felt at that particular moment. And so I'm currently promoting Usalugwenza, and translated into English, you always do this. So it means you've always done this before and you've gotten away with it. But now the chickens have come home to roost, and I think because someone decided to hold you accountable for your ways and your behaviors, and overlooking the fact that yes, the particular person holds a certain stature in society. For me, it was really important to write that song, because I think a lot of women don't get to say that to their abusers, to say, you know what, this is it, you've done this before, and I'm going to cut the umbilical cord. I'm going to speak on behalf of those who couldn't speak for themselves.
So you took your power back to yourself.
Absolutely, and that's what the movie is actually about. It's about taking back your power, because in the end, she finally decides to walk away. The main character finally decides to walk away from everything else, and she takes back her power and she starts over.
Can we expect the second album?
I'm still actually in the studio making the second album, and once we've decided on, but I'm looking to release it towards the end of this year, around August, September. But right now I'm just really, because people are like, we still are in love with the first album. Yes, we want more music, but the first album is so amazing, and we relate to it, and it resonates with so many of us, that I want to give my supporters that time to actually consume it and fully absorb every lyric in that album. So yeah.
When will Red Room be on the big screens?
Red Room is coming to the big screens on the 8th of March 2018. Very, very excited, because it is actually the first South African thriller. So we've had action and all these other genres, but it's the first South African thriller, and I get to do it first.
Make sure you don't miss the voice of reason, hey? Thank you so much for coming through. That was Cici for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.